And you're watching Sporting Icons.
Okay, so these are the kind of words that I want to be hearing from Anthony Joshua when it comes to the Oleksandr Usyk rematch. This is what Anthony Joshua had to say. Next fight, I'm going to beat him. I'm going to take those belts from him. I'm going to reign again to become a 3-time heavyweight champion of the world, whether people like it or not. Anthony Joshua's statement in brief. That's exactly what I want to hear from Anthony Joshua. I don't want to be hearing nothing about no step aside, about this, that, and no, I don't want to hear nothing. I don't really care who's even going to be in his corner, to be brutally honest. Of course, it's going to be important. But ultimately, no matter who is going to be in the corner of Anthony Joshua, he's the one who's going to have to go in there and do it. And if the game plan isn't working, he's going to have to adapt himself, which is something he didn't do in the Usyk first fight. He stuck to the game plan, and that was it. There didn't seem to be a plan B. Joshua is an elite fighter. He's a 2-time heavyweight world champion. He didn't win those belts by defeating one person. No, he went around and belt collected. That's what he done. He deserves a lot of credit. He's only had 20-odd fights compared to most other fighters who are at the top of their game who's had 30-odd fights. People like Wilder's had over 40 fights. So he's done exceptionally well, exceptionally well. He's fought all his mandatories. He's never ducked any of them. And Oleksandr Usyk was, of course, one of them. He come unstuck in the fight. His tactics were wrong. Was he gassing? Was he lucky to stay on his feet at the end of that fight? Yeah, you could say so. But again, a lot of that was down to because he was working to the pace and the game plan of Usyk rather than his own. Joshua needs to forget what Usyk's doing. Do what you need to do. Go old school. Get in there and just put it on him. Now, of course, I'm not saying go in there and start wailing and swinging for the lights. I'm not saying that. Of course, he has to be very strategically clever with it. Of course, because Usyk is a elite fighter. He will counter him and he can put Joshua out, no doubt. Now, I know people say Usyk is a small guy. He's not. Was he 6'3", 6'4"? He's a big guy, man. I don't know why people keep saying that. He's a big guy and he's southpaw. He's awkward. He's got bags of skill. There's no shame in losing to Oleksandr Usyk. So I like the fact that Joshua says whether people like it or not. Because he needs to stop worrying about what other people say, what other people think. And I say that because once so long ago, he said that the reason why he decided to try and outbox the boxer was because he was listening to the naysayers. Listening to people who say he can't box, he's stiff, he's this, he's that, and the other. Okay, fine, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to outbox the boxer. I'm going to show you I'm a good boxer. Why would you do that? Why? Stick to your strengths. He is a good boxer, but Usyk is an elite boxer. There's a difference. Get the win. That's more important than anything else. Whether you stink the place out, whether you knock him out and put on one of the best fights of the year, it's irrelevant, really. The result is what's important. Now, a lot of people will be favouring Usyk for the rematch. Understandably so. And there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. Some people who are writing off Anthony Joshua, who say he's got absolutely no chance, I totally disagree with that one. But again, some people have narratives where they want to say Joshua's no good, Joshua's rubbish, they want to discredit his resume and all that kind of stuff. Why to propel their own favourite fighter and have him above Anthony Joshua, whoever their favourite fighter is. But it's reality that Joshua lost because his game plan was wrong. A lot of people who are writing off Joshua for this rematch are the same people who wrote him off in the Andy Ruiz Jr. rematch. They're the same people. And then suddenly when he did what people said he couldn't do, which is box and do all this kind of stuff in the Andy Ruiz Jr. rematch, oh, well, he's just a little fat Mexican. Permanent discredit. If he goes in there, blast through Oleksandr Usyk, do you think that the very same people who are saying that Joshua is no good and Usyk is leagues and levels above Anthony Joshua will give Joshua credit? No, of course not. Oh, well, it's just a cruiserweight. There's always going to be a narrative, so Joshua needs to stop worrying about what other people think. Believe in himself. Do what he's got to do. He's the bigger, stronger man. Now, as I said before, it's in some ways, while it is important as to who's in his corner, yes, you do have to have a game plan, of course, and your coach will come out with a game plan. Your head trainer will come out with that game plan. But there should always be a plan B and a plan C. Your coach should recognize that. But sometimes coaches don't recognize that, and you have to be able to do it yourself. It was pretty evident after about 4 or 5 rounds that the game plan that Anthony Joshua was implementing wasn't working. But he didn't change it up because his corner team didn't tell him to. You don't just have to follow everything by the book, follow the script. You don't have to. Amend the script, rewrite it. This ain't working. When Anthony Joshua did actually press forward on the rare occasions that he was doing it, and he was throwing punches, and he did land on Usyk, Usyk didn't like it. He didn't like it. You could see that Usyk was hurt. But Joshua just didn't follow through with it. Is it because he's apprehensive about what's coming back? Well, of course. This is elite boxing. These are big men. Call him a cruiserweight or not. Usyk can put your lights out. He is a big puncher. He's not the biggest puncher, no. But he's still a big enough puncher to put out anybody. He is. And especially when he's southpaw, you have to train your brain to have your tactics against a southpaw when it's already programmed for an orthodox fighter. It's very difficult to do. Very, very difficult to do. So him losing to Oleksandr Usyk, he's no shame. No shame in that whatsoever. I don't care what Fury says. I don't care what Wilder says. I don't care what anyone says. Most boxing fans know, true boxing fans know, that Usyk is an elite fighter, and there's no shame in losing to Oleksandr Usyk. Whether you get beat by him on points, whether you get knocked out by him, there's no shame in that. No shame in that. Usyk could legitimately be the best heavyweight on the planet right now. Legitimately, he could be. I'm not saying he is, I'm saying he could be. But that's up to Anthony Joshua to get in there and put himself back in the mix. Just because Anthony Joshua lost to Andy Ruiz Jr., beat him in a rematch, just because he lost to a Oleksandr Usyk and then maybe potentially beat him in the rematch, what does that mean? That there are several other fighters out there who would beat Anthony Joshua? No, but it's heavyweight division. Anybody can beat anybody, especially at the top end. Joshua has been testing himself, which is something that a lot of other heavyweights haven't been doing. He's been testing himself. He's been thrown into the lion's den. But anyway, we'll have to wait and see what happens in this rematch. But as I said before, this is the kind of fighting talk I want to hear about Joshua. I want to be hearing nothing about no step aside. I want to be hearing nothing about nobody else from Anthony Joshua other than this is what I'm going to do to Oleksandr Usyk. He beat me. I ain't going to let him get away with it. Andy Ruiz Jr. beat me. I didn't let him get away with it. Usyk is going to be the same scenario. Whether he goes in there and blasts him out or however it is, he needs to do it. Don't try and do it for other people. Do it for yourself. Anyway, that's my thoughts on the whole situation. I'm happy to see Anthony Joshua talking about how he's going to become a 3-time world heavyweight champion. Unified at that. And having, if he beats Usyk, another top fighter on his resume. Drop your thoughts below, click thumbs up, subscribe. Catch you all in the next video.